Hi, and welcome to another Scientology Outside of the Church podcast. This is season 11, episode 17. After a bit of a hiatus, we are back. I'm here with Quentin Stroud. Quentin, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great. Me too. It's morning here. We're going to get started, and this is going to be titled, this is a bit of a different one. This is going to be titled, Still Not Clear Yet?
Every
Still?
time we say it, we crack up laughing.
Yeah. So what does that
You've been
what does that imply?
you've been a Scientologist for 55,000 years. Still not clear yet?
What's what's going on there? You a
Right.
poser? Why is it taking so long? Uh, Study wise, LRH says a slow student equals something awfully wrong in keeping Scientology working. Number one, but on the auditing side, that's a bit of a different thing. So we're going to approach it from that viewpoint. Still not clear yet.
Yeah.
So how do we want to take this as a perspective from a
Well,
larger arc and then go into a micro?
sure. Well, I think that obviously anybody who is jumping feet first into Scientology study, you're on course, you're inside the college doing your coursework, you're getting all the gains that comes from the knowledge that comes along with being an independent Scientologist and having the technology available to you. Anybody who is in Scientology obviously knows that they have goals of dealing with life. Number one, I think first and foremost, because it's an applied religious philosophy. So obviously you have the goals of dealing with life, but
Right.
you also have the goal of going clear and even going OT, right? And so dealing with the things that could be making your life difficult, the things that are slowing you down, the things that are causing you to be reactive instead of responsible, the things that are causing you to create these problems and troubles in your life, self sabotaging things. So, anybody who is in independent Scientology is wanting to achieve certain goals.
Mhm.
And when we talk about still not clear yet, we're kind of saying it like a little bit like poking the bear, so to speak. But also, what is that really about? And when you look at, you know, the church, when you look at the corporate Scientology, there could be, I'm just saying, there could be some reasons why, you know, you're
Valid,
being,
very, very valid reasons that don't have anything to do with you.
yeah, reasons why you're not clear yet, why you're not hitting your goals, why you're not doing the things that you sought out to do. So I think it's
I,
probably start.
yeah, I think that would be a good place to start for people who are new to the podcast and haven't, maybe they're looking for other options because you're looking at a very steep gradient to get clear in the church at the current cost schedule that the church has. I mean, it's significant, very significant to do. And it's one of those things. People, everybody does Scientology for a reason. They've got something they want to handle. And that is something that has to be addressed first before you can speed up the bridge, so to speak. And you have to be able to, maybe you don't have enough ability. I think probably the biggest thing, and you probably would agree, would be, I need to make more money. How many podcasts have we done on I need to make more money? Because that's why they're doing Scientology. Is their having this isn't high enough. So, we need to work on the be do have. But when you're looking at, gosh, some ridiculous amount of money inside the corporate church of Scientology, that's one of the reasons why you may still not be clear yet, is people are on the bridge for decades because of the cost. They don't get very far because there isn't anything to address the problem of how do I make enough money to pay for my lower bridge, my grades, new aerodynamics, and that type of a thing. That is something that needs to be considered and looked at because back in the 70s, in early 1973, LRH said that the cost of the bridge shouldn't be any more than about 10% of your net income. That was what it was supposed to be.
Wow.
Yeah. My father, when he paid for his OT3 package, which included the solo 1 and 2 course, OT 1, 2, and 3, that was 3,500 US dollars in 1973.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
3,500 bucks.
now you're looking at about 60 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's an example. Um, so that's something that has to be considered is you need to get a leg up through auditing in order to afford auditing. And that's a legitimate concern.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people run into is how do I go clear? But it's a chicken or the egg. I need the money to go up the bridge. I need the money to get audited, but I have a $15 an hour, $20 an hour job. How do I afford this? Well,
Mm.
what are you going to do? Well, it's a
Right.
lot. Most people what they default to credit,
Mm.
and that's I guess that's okay. But I mean, you're looking at an awful lot of credit in order to just to get clear. So that's something in independent Scientology we can help you with at a much more affordable rate than the church can.
Well, and also without all the barriers and the physical universe barriers, the stops, one thing that really appealed to me and helped me go clear. And mind you, I've been in Scientology for 22 years, 23 years now. I've been in Scientology for 23 years and just went clear. Well, just attested to clear. What, 2 years ago? A year and a half, 2 years ago.
Year and a half,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it's like for that period of time, what was happening? What was stopping me? What was getting in the way? And I will say, I think that the money thought, not so much the money availability, because I was able to pull in money, but the thought of how much money I had to put towards my bridge activity, that was a thing for me,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it just occurred to me that it's also a very valid fact that what you see in the corporate church now is, like in my case, I was a past life clear,
Hmm.
and I dropped the body in the Mediterranean in 1967, picked up this body in East Africa and Ethiopia in 68, June of 68. When I originated this to the corporate church back in 2001, they said, well, you have to do the entire lower bridge. You're going to have to do all your grades and everything, blah, 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 $50,000, and we'll take care of it. See, and that's an arbitrary. And that's another reason that stops people from going clear. Now, what we do in the independent field is if somebody says, well, I have this information and I'm a past life clear, or I went clear in the church and they said, you shall not pass and you have to do all of these things, you should talk to us and you should get a metered interview with us with a theta meter remotely, and then
Love
we can get the information from you in a DFP, director of processing interview, and then we can get you scheduled out to do a clear certainty rundown and find out if in fact you did go clear. And if you did, and all of that checks out, guess what? You don't have to do your expanded grades. You only have to do the quad grades, which is at the end of each grade, in order to continue on instead of this arbitrary. Whatever the case may be. I mean, there are lots of different scenarios, but this is something that I think probably is the most prevalent that I've seen in all the time that AOGP has been in existence. Is there's all these arbitraries that come up from the corporate church in this particular aspect of what we're talking about in the program, where they're saying you can't pass, you have to do this and this, or you're not, or you this, and they put up all
Yeah.
these stops.
And to their benefit. And I think that that's kind of where I was coming in with this, right? Like who cui bono, who benefits, from
Yeah.
keeping you lower on the bridge? Who benefits from keeping you reaching and trying? Who benefits from not getting you to where you need to be in your life? This is your existence.
Right.
And who's benefiting from keeping you not reaching those goals? And so I think that it's really, really important to know that there is a way to start to achieve those goals, and the goals that you set out when you first picked up your first book, or the goals that you set out when you first went into your first course room or whatever, the goals you set out when you first found us online with AOGP, like the goals that you set out for your life, there is a way to help you realize that.
Hmm.
And for anyone or anything that's trying to stop you from that, that needs to be really looked at as an enemy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like you're trying to hurt me at this point, and so I'm gonna attack back. One thing I love about LRH, he was like, he said in his lecture, I think it's called Speed of Auditing, or Auditing Speed. It's called Auditing Speed. But he said, as a matter of fact, where is it? Hold on a second. Oh, I can tell you this: life is never dull when you have the reactive mind as a target. So, as a consequence, when you make up your mind as to what level or action or the PC's regard in a certain direction should be, don't feel so whip curd, see, because it's something else. So when you make up a mind, it's not invalidation to you. He says it's not invalidation to you. When you make up your mind to go in a certain direction, certain speed, certain movement, certain action or something, and like stuff is starting to get in the way, don't look at it as, I can't do this. Oh, this is so much. I can't take that. That's too much money. That's too much. Da, da, da. Don't look at it that way. It's
Mm-mm.
not an invalidation to you,
Yep.
right? It really is almost like, this is exactly why I need to start to move, because no test should daunt you.
Right. Well, and I was thinking of an analogy, and it's a little bit backhanded from what we're talking about at the moment, but you see these people who live their life and they just go, well, I'll just win the lottery. Do you get where I'm headed with this? I'll just
Yep.
win the lottery. I'll be clear someday.
Mm.
Okay. So that's a postulate, but a postulate is only as good as you put some doingness in that direction. You have to put it there, and that's on the micro level, not the macro level. The macro level is, I want to go clear by the end of 2025. Okay, good. Now, so how are you going to do that? What steps do you have to take in order to do that? And you have to take steps. That's my point. Is you can't just say, "Well, I'm just going to win the lottery." Well, I'm just going to go clear. I've met people who said, "Well, I want to be clear someday." Why are you saying I want to be clear someday? It's clear is a good start. It's a good
It's a
start.
good start. It is a
It's a
good
good
start.
start. Do you realize that? Clear is a good start. And I'm not trying to invalidate the state of clear, but he says that Ellery says that people that have no idea of the gains that can be had on the OT levels at the lower levels. So people are looking at clear and they're like, well, someday I want to be clear. Wait a minute, you need to adjust your thinking. You need to figure out how you can be clear in the next 6 months to a year.
Hmm.
People don't realize that if you apply yourself, you can go clear in 6 months. You can. It's not that hard. Or you can go clear in 2 years. You want to go clear in 2 years? Start getting auditing with AOGP 3 days a week for an hour a session.
Hmm.
Okay. And so you're looking at a month is an intensive. Okay. I've had people do that. A month is an intensive, and it took them 2 years to go clear. You can do it that way too. It just depends on the finances. Now
That's
that's a
good.
much shallower gradient. But the thing is you have to put something there. You have to start somewhere, because if you don't do anything about it and you just say, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to go clear. Okay, so what's changing in your environment? How are things getting better? How are things improving? Like, you got that new job, you have all of these stops that are out of the way. You're getting your withholds off so that you pull in flows. We've worked with people recently where they had withholds and they needed to get them cleaned up. And all of a sudden, they started getting flows in literally within 12 hours. The phone started ringing.
Yes.
And that's how it
And
works.
let me tell you what's interesting is when I on credit, I pay for my entire bridge. Pay for my entire bridge on credit. And within, I would say probably about 4 months, I was able to get all the money back in that I paid for my entire bridge on. And so I know that just by putting that out there as a flow, just by saying that this is my intention and this is my commitment to that intention
Right.
and this is how I'm going to do it, that's what actually changed my necessity level. It changed the way I moved, it changed the way I breathed, it changed the way I ate. Like it literally, all these things changed for me and immediately flow
Yeah.
started coming in.
Yeah.
And get this, and people who I would have never thought, people who I would have never thought were going to be a woman at a banana, like a the curb market,
Hmm.
farmers market, the farmers
Hmm.
market thing, I became a client of mine. I would have never found a farmers market lady client, right?
Right.
But
What
she
changed?
wanted to start right. She wanted to
Yeah.
start working and start flowing money like that. Who
Hmm.
would have thought that the lady at the farmers market was rich?
Right.
I didn't know,
Right.
right?
And I think it's important to mention that necessity level, as you mentioned a moment ago. Let's touch on that for a minute. Necessity level is key because if you're staying in your comfort zone, I'll go clear someday. If you're not staying in your comfort zone and you're doing something that scares you and you're like, oh God, I need to get my necessity level up. I have to try harder. I've committed myself to this and I need to pay this bill to put it that I put on credit to get up the bridge. Okay, well, guess what? Now your necessity level is higher. The 95-year-old woman whose grandson is under the car and the chalks squirt out the other side and the car is falling and she grabs the ass end of the car and holds the car up so her grandkid can get out without being crushed.
You
These
became a
things happen,
superwoman,
right? Because of a necessity level. I hope people
right?
understand that analogy. But the thing is you got to get your necessity level up. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but it's like, what is the necessity? Damn it, I want to be living my best life. How can you do that? You know that auditing works. You want to go clear. You want to go OT. You got to get your necessity level up. And you can't just sit there and go out and have drinks and post on Facebook and all of this and live in La Vida Loca and everything. And you never get up the fucking bridge. You have to change your necessity level. Someday. You can't do that. You've got to get your necessity level up. And sometimes you have to push yourself. Most of the time you have to push yourself. You want to say something, I can see it.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you. Listen, that one datum, necessity level, that one datum changes everything, and it changed a lot for me. Ellery says in the lecture, the complete auditor part two, he says that all you have to do, well, he said we've wondered a long time, what is necessity level? How would how would you like to be able to artificially pick up a person's necessity level? All you would have to know is what necessity level is. Necessity level and exteriorization are quite similar. As a matter of fact, necessity level is merely, evidently, extroversion occasioned acutely by the presence of a recognizably menaceful problem in the environment. So it's extroversion. Get this. I want you, if you're listening, I want you to understand this. When we talk about necessity level, and then I know why you laugh, Jonathan. Necessity level is extroversion occasioned acutely by the presence of a recognizably menaceful problem in the environment. And so that means you recognize the problems in your life. You recognize what's going on. This is menaceful. This is terrible. This is not the way I want to be living. You recognize how bad it is. And now it's time to exteriorize, to
Hmm.
get out of that, to bring yourself out of that problem. And by recognizing that, you pull yourself out of it, your necessity level immediately raises. He says this. Here we have the environment suddenly posing a big recognizable problem. There is the problem, and the person comes up to present time and extroverts on it. That is necessity level. That's it.
Mhm.
And so if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now and you look around your life and you see some recognizably noticeable problems, it could be your finances, it could be your body, it could be your life, it could be your relationships, it could be whatever, right? If you look around your life and you recognize some recognizably noticeable, menaceful, I love that word, menaceful problems, this is your call to extrovert from that. This is your way to pull yourself out of that, to raise up the necessity level and pull out of that, right? And it's brilliant because when we think about it, like you just talked about the lady with the car, she recognized that her grandbaby was under a car.
Mhm.
And she raised herself, she raised the necessity level up so high that she extroverted the car. She just threw it, whatever, right?
Mhm.
She lifted the car up just to get that baby off of her, the car off the baby. So I'm saying all that to say is that as you look at your life, you get to determine what your when you're going to raise your necessity level. We can't do it for you. I can encourage you. I can bring you to a sense of hope, maybe that
Mhm.
there is a better way and a better thing that you can employ for your life to get into a better condition. But you have to do the work. You see.
Right, and that comes down to considerations are senior to the physical universe. What
Mm,
is your necessity? Well, I can do my 9 to 5 job and someday I'll be clear, someday I'll win the lottery. I'll get a lottery ticket every Friday after I get paid. Okay.
mhm.
Okay, good luck with that. But you got to get your necessity level up because the odds of winning the lottery aren't in your favor. Now, maybe you could postulate it and that would maybe solve all your problems, but money doesn't buy happiness either. Auditing does.
Mhm.
So you have to get your necessity level up and go, okay, these are things that that are menaceful that I need to change, and they're not changing. And you have to look at it and go, if anything's going to change, I am going to be the person that is going to have to change them. And get your necessity level up and go, I have to get a second job, or I have to stop eating crappy food so that I feel better, so that I can do better at work. I mean, it could be anything. You have to get your necessity level up. And dooming and glooming it and everything, the world's coming to an end and all that stuff. We've taken those approaches in other podcasts, and you've heard it many times before from us. But the thing is it all lies within you. What is the necessity to go clear? What is the necessity to go OT? Do you not understand what those states are? What you can, and it's not what those states can do for you. This is key. Hear me when I say this. It's what can you do with that state that you are? It's a beingness. You're trying to get to a point of beingness, to doingness, to havingness. And that is why you fail. It's not what can it do for me, it's what can I do for myself. That is necessity level. That is why you are not clear or OT, is because you're looking at it backwards. And we beat that drum, be, do, have, do, be. Okay. I get that. You get that as a listener. But the thing is you really need to understand that is it's not what it's going to do for you. You have to get there first. You have to get there first. Change your necessity level and get that going. That's why you're not clear or OT.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting because LRA says continues in his lecture where he talks about how 10 times a day, most human beings are actually confronted with opportunities to raise their necessity level. But we get kind of in this bandwidth, this kind of like a chronic tone level, right? This chronic tone level where it's like you just kind of tolerate. Have you ever been in a situation at your job, maybe, or been in a situation in a relationship, perhaps, or something where you just tolerate certain things because it's just the way things are? That's just life. That's just the cards I was dealt. Whatever people say, right? And
Mhm.
so we tolerate these things. And he actually talks about how you actually are confronted with remarkable instances of this. He says that you think that a man could be extroverted by a sudden approach of a recognizable menace 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day. The opportunity could present itself. but do you ever really rise to the occasion? Do you ever really break through that chronic tone barrier, as it were, and do something different? I say all the time when I work with my clients, I say, listen, I don't do things in gradual, like small incremental thing. I'm not a really incremental person. I like big, bold moves. That's
Mm-hmm.
me. I think fortune
Mm-hmm.
favors the bold. That's why I like fortune. And so I take big, bold moves. And so when I saw this opportunity, when I talked to Jonathan, when we found each other online or whatever, I was like, listen, what do I need to do? How do we make this happen? How do we get this done? And I
Yep.
took a big, bold move, not because I had it like that. It was because I knew that by doing this big, bold thing, fortune favors the bold. And I was able to put some stuff in action. I was able to raise my necessity level up and start pulling in things seemingly out of nowhere. I would have never thought to look at some of these places, and it came up to that level and met me where I was. So I loved it.
Right. And that also goes along with what, and this comes from a couple different angles. What's life without risk? If you don't
Mm-hmm.
if you do, if nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't take a risk, if you you know, there's the difference between a risk and a calculated risk. But if you know that auditing works and training works, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting
Yeah.
for? Because it isn't going to change unless you change it, and you have to make bold moves. You have to take you have to take a step. Now, granted, you can make a postulate, and it doesn't cost you anything to make a postulate, and that postulate will stick to the degree that you go, okay, I am going to do this, because beingness is what gets you to make that postulate. Now you've got to put it into action. You don't just, I'm going to brush my teeth twice a day. Well, you're not going to brush your teeth unless you brush your teeth twice a day. Get it? We said this before. Same thing holds true for going clear. You have to make the moves. You have to have a necessity level. Things need to change. They can, not should, they can be better. They can be a lot better. You can have all this
Mhm.
stuff pushed to the wayside because you're doing the pushing by doing something about it, putting it out there, having necessity, making it happen, doing the things that you need to do in order to achieve the goals that you need to achieve. That's what we're trying to say. That's really the only reason, whether you're in the corporate church or you're in independent Scientology. You have to look at it and go, okay, what's going on here? This is going to cost me way too much to do this.
Mhm.
In independent Scientology, you have all those arbitraries out of the way. You've got half price bridge specials with AOGP. You know, you can do it online in your own home. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do it as many days as you
I
want
love that.
or as many hours as you want. All of these stops that have been put out there by Big Brother that owns the corporate church of Scientology do not exist in the independent field. All you have to do is get started and get in touch with us, and we will get you going. That is our sole purpose.
Well, yeah, and in that same lecture I was talking about earlier about auditing speed, he says it. He says that you you think that the stops, the lack of money or the time, I don't have time, or whatever, you think that those things are invalidation of somebody, invalidation of what you want. But he says, as a matter of fact, I'm reading here. He says, as a matter of fact, it's a validation of somebody to try to do something about it.
Mhm.
You see, the bulk of people that have gone around the bend are and are being normal. These characters not only don't think there's anything that can be done about it, they don't think that there is anything else than this life. This is it. This is life. And that's the way you live. Absolutely screaming messes, he says. Absolutely screaming messes, life. They're not living any kind of life that anybody would want to live, much less them. And they tell you so, you see, but there isn't anything you can do about it, according to them. You might say they have totally surrendered to the disorderliness of existence. This is something else
Mhm.
that people go around saying that it's because I don't have, because I can't get, because I can't,
Right.
because of whatever things he does. Like, they go in and do and say all this stuff, but realizing LRA says, look at it from a different perspective, that it's not an invalidation of somebody, or what you're trying to create. It's a validation that somebody can try to do something about it. And you're talking to two people who do
Mm-hmm.
every day, trying
Mm-hmm.
to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation after conversation, PC after PC, red cycle after red cycle, auditing session after auditing session, doing this to do something about it. And that's, to me, that's a validation to me. I feel validated.
Right.
You know what I mean? That I'm here trying to do something about this. And so I don't want you to ever feel like just because you don't have, you can't be. Hmm.
Right. How many conversations have you and I had with people over the
Mhm.
last 6 months where, but I have this consideration. I have this consideration. I have to take care of this. I have to take care of that. And then there's this, and then there's that.
What
And
about my cat?
right.
What about my shoes?
Right,
Like,
right. What about the new job that I have to get that I haven't gotten hired for yet? I have to do that. Or and you just like, okay, what is that? Is that be do
mhm.
have, or is that have do be?
Mm, mm,
And
mm, mm.
I have to say it again. But this is why you aren't clear, because your considerations are senior to your necessity level.
Jeez.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Change
Yep.
your considerations to match your necessity level, and then things will follow suit. It's that simple. And he talks about that you in the well, they're now called the Route to Infinity lectures. He talks about you have to put it there. You have to see it in the physical universe. You have to mock it up. See yourself in session, holding the cans in front of your computer, with me as your auditor, Quentin as your auditor, Matt as your auditor.
Hmm.
See yourself in session. See yourself having a win. See yourself getting out of session and walking outside the house and going, man, I feel fucking good.
Yes.
Seriously,
And it happens every session.
Right. Every session. See yourself doing that. Don't just put it out there someday, because then it will just be someday. That is
Yeah.
why you are not clear yet.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said. And I want you to hear in this conversation that we're having with you, I want you to hear the level of certainty in our voice, right?
Mhm.
I want you to hear the level of certainty that hopefully
That's a
that
great point.
you feel it, right? Because certainty is such a interesting thing, because when you look at this material universe, this physical universe, you can be rather certain, a sane person can look around the room and be rather certain that this is a desk, or rather certain that that's a door, or whatever, right? But when it comes to things in your personal life, when it comes to things that are in your spiritual life, right? It's it could sometimes be hard for people to be certain about that.
Mhm.
And so what I want to share with you is that the certainty the certainty is something that you build. Oh, I don't know how to say it. The certainty is something that you ascertain. It's like you become certain. You know that you know that you know that you know.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, there's no other outcome other than that. Period, paragraph. That is tone 40 in independent Scientology. Tone 40 is this is boom.
Yes.
That is
Intention without
certainty.
reservation.
Right. And that is what it's all about. That is how you change your considerations. I'm certain. But what if I'm not? Well, then you're not certain. Knock it off. You're
Right.
certain.
What? But hold on a second there. And if you're not certain, catch this. And if you're not certain about the ability to take care of this situation, or the ability to change your course in life, or the ability to pay for my bridge or whatever, if you're not certain, wouldn't it make more sense to lean on the certainty that is there? The certainty in this conversation, the certainty in talking to a trained
That's right.
class 8, 12, 10 auditor, whatever. So isn't it better to lean into the certainty of what is versus the uncertainty of what maybe? I don't know if I can do that. And it's almost like having this other determinism. this other thing telling you that you can't. You can't. How you ain't gonna be able to pay that off? You ain't gonna be able to make that. You ain't gonna be able to do that. You ain't gonna be. Where you gonna have to? Where you gonna find the time? You got 3 kids.
Yeah.
All this stuff. All this stuff that is telling you what it is certain of. You certain about them cats. You certain about them kids. You certain about that bill. You certain about that light. You got to pay the light bill. That's
That's
certain.
right. That's certain. Right.
I'm a bill too.
That's right.
I look at
Right.
my listen. I pay my bill too. I'm a bill too. I take care of me.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. You know what certainty feels like. It's certain
Yep.
that you're going to have to pay your light bill at the end of the month. That's
Yep.
what certainty feels like. It is a certainty that you're going to have to pay that bill. Now take that feeling and transpose it over to I am certain I am going to go clear. I am going to go
Yes.
OT. It's that simple. You're putting it there, you're mocking it up. That same feeling is you're certain of your light bill, you're certain you're going clear, and that's it. Bam.
Mhm.
That's a
Bam.
postulate. Now do it. Make it
Yep.
happen. And it's not hard to make it happen once you're certain because now your necessity level is up. Where did your necessity level change? When you decided to be certain.
Right.
That's it.
And to be exterior to your own menacing problems of your life right now.
Correct.
And how beautiful that is. And this is see, this is why I love Scientology because I feel the love, I feel the care, I feel the consideration for other beings that exist within this movement and within what we're building, what we're creating as an independent Scientologist. I feel it, and so as you continue to go up the bridge, as you continue to go clear, you become so much, and this is my lived experience, you become exterior to your own problems. I'm
Hmm.
telling you what I know, not what I read out of a book. Okay. You become exterior to your own problems, and that's what necessity level really is. We just read it. Exterior to the menacing problems of your life. And you realize that I have to be acutely so. Like for that thing, I gotta get out. Because
Hmm.
of that reason, I can't stay here no more. Because of that reason, I'm done. Because of that reason, this must change. And when you get to that place in your life, and many of you already are, when you get
Hmm.
to that place in your life, that's where the necessity level is. And that's when you make the call.
Hmm.
That's when you reach out. That's when you say something's got to give. And that's when it changes for you.
That's right. And at the bottom of the bridge of the grade chart, the 1981 grade chart, and all the other ones after 1965, right at the bottom there, just below the purification rundown, is need for change on the scale of awareness.
Yes.
That is necessity level as a seed. Okay, this has got to change. I need to fix this. I'm doing this because I know this works. I've seen these tools, I've experienced them. I have some certainty that they work. If these tools work, what about all the other ones you don't know about yet? In session, on course, that type of
Mhm.
thing. That's it. Need for change. You have to take on this adventure and you will find out. Of this we are certain. We are almost at
Of
100.
this, we are certain.
We are almost at 170 podcasts. Nobody can touch us. The number
Yep.
of podcasts that we've done. Why? Because we are certain that this works and it works for you as well as for us. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. And so, and a way of establishing certainty is to set anchor points, right? And you set these anchor points where you like your body is an anchor point. Like you're relatively certain that you're here working with the body on some level, right? Whether interior, exterior, whatever, right? You're relatively certain that you're working with a body, as sane as one is. And so what you do then is you set an anchor point for that future self. You set an anchor point for who you are to be, to
Mm-hmm.
become. You set an anchor point to that,
Mm-hmm.
and you move towards that anchor point. And every viewpoint you get, every viewpoint you regard in the direction of that anchor point, it all leads to that.
Mm-hmm.
So when the bill comes in, when the extra income tax check comes in, when the extra whatever it is, every viewpoint that comes into your purview goes toward that anchor point of who
That's right.
you are becoming.
Right.
And you do it with, let me be clear. I'm not just even talking about going up the bridge. You do it in every way of your life. If you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to work out, if you wanted to work out and you wanted to get your body to a certain thing, right? You set an anchor point. You have an idea in your mind that you set of how you want your body to look. It could be to fit into that nice dress that you had 10 years ago. It could be to get ready for your wedding. It could be to get ready, whatever the thing is that you set the anchor point for. And then you get to run it. You go on the treadmill, you go run outside, you go swimming, you go lift some weights, you go do whatever it is that gets you. When I was in South Africa with Jonathan, Jonathan took me to that gym. Jonathan would take me to that gym, and I didn't like to go. That's me. But I would go to the gym because I'm trying to support him and I'm trying to be that. I would go to the gym. Okay. So I would go to the gym. And boy, oh boy, so I start on the bike. But what the problem was, and I'm telling y'all what I know, the problem was I didn't have an anchor point.
Yeah.
I would just go to the gym because Jonathan was going to the gym and I didn't want to sit at the house by myself.
Right. Right.
And so I would go to the gym and I would get on the bike and I ride the bike for like 20 minutes and I get off the bike. And then I get on the row machine. I do the row machine for about 10 minutes. I get off the row machine. And I go lift like a 10-pound weight.
You're looking over
You
your
know,
shoulder. He done yet? No.
right? And
Okay.
I'd be like, "Are you done? Are you okay? All right, I just a boy." And literally, this is what we literally did. And I say this because you set these anchor points for what you want.
That's right.
It's a job, it's a body type, it's a health goal, it's a relationship goal, it's a mental health goal, it's a spiritual goal. You set the anchor point for your life, and that becomes your certainty.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes your certainty. I know that I know that I know that I know that that's possible for me. I know that that's where I'm going. I know that this is who I'm becoming. This is the man or the woman that I choose to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you change your life.
That's right.
And if you've never had that, if it's this nebulous, oh, I'll be clear one day. That's like me going to the gym. Oh, I'll lift a 10 pound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll get on the bike and do a little pedaling, and I'll
Right.
feel better. No, baby, that ain't how it works. We gonna set the anchor point. So get this. As you hear this podcast, get online, go to ao-gp.org. In the little bottom corner, Finn, the little AI, you can say, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody." Just say that, "I need to talk to somebody."
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. "I need to talk to somebody." And that will start the conversation. That'll be like you get on the bike. Now, and we'll help you get an anchor point. We'll help you get some certainty around what's possible and what you can do and how you can do it and how you can make it happen. That's not a problem,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to do it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
It doesn't fall into your lap. You have to put it out there. You have to shoot that crossbow with the rope that gets you to the other side. Tunk, it goes into the rock, and now all of a sudden you can climb across that rope, and there you are to the other side. Now you have an anchor point. You have to put it out there. So put it there. Get your necessity level up. Get that certainty there. Is it in the rock? Yeah, it is. Okay, now go.
Mm.
So we're going to leave it at that. I think you all get the picture. We hope you've
Yep.
enjoyed this podcast. Give us a call, 816-355-4606. Talk to Finn on ao-gp.org or on the College of Independent Scientology.com, or online social media platform and online course room. Get in touch with us with our new specials that we have for getting up the bridge. We've got a couple of them, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you on the AI. If you say, "I need to talk to someone," we're right there. Gets on our phone, on our smartphone, and we'll get in touch with you and fill you in on all the details, and we can hop on Zoom and have a chat with you and get you going to clear and OT. So thanks for being here, everybody, and it's nice to be back for both Quentin and I, and we'll see you in the next iteration of our podcast. Namaste, and we love you. Bye-bye.
Peace.